notice that after you hit that highest cash month, you maybe did your lowest cash month? That is because you have not trained your nervous system and expanded your nervous system to hold that amount of money. So what is it going to do? It's going to deplete it because it doesn't feel worthy. It doesn't feel safe to hold that amount of energy. When you ask to go to a new level, you'll also be met with new challenges. And usually, if you ask for more, the universe will test you and be like, okay, you asked for more. I'm just going to test you here. How well can you actually hold this? Depending on how you respond to your universal assignment or your universal test, the universe will then go, okay, here you go.
You know the vibe. All spice, no sugar. Let's get into it.
Okay, welcome back to another episode on the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. And you may be looking around and thinking, Candy, you're not where you normally are. And that's because we're coming to you from Texas, baby. I can't believe that I am currently in Texas, in the USA. I've been here for about 2 weeks now after finishing up my Australian tour. I feel like, guys, we've got a little bit of updating to do. And there's a lot of things that are happening in my world right now, and I'm not really sure whether to give you all of the details. But just to do a quick recap, all right? So we just finished my 4th and last Australian tour. I just finished Gold Coast, Sydney, and Melbourne. And then 5 days later, I flew out to the United States. And I have been here for just almost a week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. I have been here for 2 weeks now. Oh my God, it's gone crazy fast. And I have been in Austin. And there has been a lot of things that have evolved in my world. And I'm excited to kind of give you an update on that in the near future. But right now, we're kind of keeping it a little bit hush-hush. So I'm just gonna let you know that your girl's just living her best life over here, and she really likes it over here. And yeah, I think that's all. That's all for now. But what I actually want to talk about on today's episode is actually how to calibrate your nervous system to increase your energetic capacity to receive more money. So something that I've really noticed, and it's been in a lot of topic of conversations recently, is how to regulate your nervous system to actually receive more cash flow. And this is obviously relating to your business, but also it's how to also expand your energetic capacity to receive more clients, more from the universe, more attention, more opportunities, more gifts, more literally everything that you want in your life comes from a direct reflection of how much energetic capacity that you can hold there and how much you can receive. And if you don't look at this work, and if you don't actually do the work to expand your energetic capacity, you're going to continue to loop in the same income ceilings, in the same results threshold, in the same monthly recurring revenue. In essentially, you're just going to continue to loop receiving the same amount of results in your business and in your life. So this is something that's so important, something that I have been actively doing since before I started my business, really. And it's something that I've really worked on consistently, and I really believe it's a thing that allowed me to get to 10K months and consistently scale from 10K months to 30K months. And I'm going to share with you recently a bit of a story and a bit of a journey that I've been on to actually regulate my nervous system to hold and be calibrated to multi-5-figure cash months. And that's between $35,000 to $50,000 in recurring revenue for the consistently on a monthly basis. So if we unpack this, money is just energy. And think about the amount of energy that you get given in a day. And depending on where you disperse that energy will determine how much you actually get back. So if you're wasting your time and your energy doing something that doesn't fulfill you, eating bad food, spending time with people who don't actually light you up, doing something that drains you instead of fills you up and fulfills you, that energy is going to be depleted. And the same principle applies with money. When that energy is depleted, you're like a drained battery. And essentially you have to then recharge your battery to then be fully charged again to be able to receive more. But when we think about money and energetics and the energetics of money, when we think about business, if we're constantly pushing our energy out from a place of hustle, from a place of, I need to be doing this. I need to show up on social media every day. I need to post. I need to run this workshop. I need to reply to my clients. And I need to do all of these things. So we're constantly pushing energy out. We are therefore energetically capped, and you will be unable to receive more energy, aka more money, into your business. So this is a really important thing that I see so many, especially beginner entrepreneurs, the women that are scaling to their first 10K months. Something that I see that is neglected is this work, because they're constantly like, I just need to do more, I need to show up more, I need to be consistent, I need to take action. And absolutely, I commend you for that. But what I really want you to recognize is bringing in the energetics piece to actually calibrate your nervous system to hold that amount of energy. So when you do hit those milestones from the amount of effort that you've been putting in, you don't self-sabotage it. You don't push it away. Instead, you actually know how to hold it from a grounded perspective. So I see this a lot with beginner entrepreneurs, but then I also see it when people hit the 10K month and they're trying to crack into the 30K, and then, or they'll hit a 30K and then they'll drop back down. They'll hit a 30K and then they'll drop back down. And the same thing applies to when you're trying to crack into consistent minimum 30K months. I feel like the first game as an entrepreneur is getting to the first 10K milestone in your business. And then it's like, woohoo, I hit 6 figures. Then the next milestone from there is how to actually go from 10K, make it consistent, to then breaking through the 30K consistent threshold. I feel like, and even this is in my own experiences as well, is my clients will have an experience where they'll hit 10K and then they'll experience a lower threshold month, or they'll hit an energetic money income and then they'll fall down again. And then same thing as when they learn how to regulate their nervous system and they learn how to regulate and hold that amount of cash flow in their business, and that becomes their normal, they will then go, okay, 10K months, they'll start to circulate around that, and then they'll start to hit, oh, I did a 15K, oh, I did a 20K, oh, I did a 30K, and they'll bounce up and down until they have learned how to regulate their nervous system to hold that amount of energy, therefore hold that amount of cash flow in their business. This is such an important thing that I don't see any strategic business mentor teaching. This is why energetics is so important, because if you don't become consciously aware of this playing out in the background, you will consistently run yourself dry, burn out, and loop around the same results. And I don't want you to loop around the same results. I want you to be able to actually hit a milestone and be so regulated in that you just consistently grow. So when I was scaling to my first 10K months, a lot of what I did in the work before is I was reprogramming my subconscious mind and actually regulating my nervous system to know in my body that was just normal for me. So things that I did was I literally would just visualize seeing the $10,000 on my spreadsheet in my bank account, and I would also associate an elated experience, an elated emotion with hitting that milestone. And I was like, fuck yeah, I did it. Of course I did. Like, this is so normal for me. This is natural for me to be doing 10K months. And I used to use this languaging in present tense to just be like, yeah, of course. Of course I did it. I had that much level of certainty and conviction in myself, and just regulated myself in the knowing that 10K months is normal for me. That when the time that I actually hit that 10K month mark, I had my whole entire body was just so calm. It was so calm. It was like, oh yeah, this was just the next logical step. So yes, I talk about delusion, and a lot of what I talk about and teach my clients is how to show up in the world with a unfuckwithable level of delusional self-belief. But that delusional self-belief is there to actually teach your body that, so when you hit those milestones, it's normal. And so instead of pushing it away, you just attract more of it. So again, things that I did here was I would just literally look at my bank account, or I would visualize my bank account with X amount of dollars. Say, for example, I was hitting my first 10K months, and I would just consistently look at that and be like, of course, this is normal for me. This is natural for me. And I would just also associate the emotions of like gratitude, peace, joy, groundedness when I looked at that number. So instead of having this ecstatic reaction where my body goes like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is wild. I hit my first 10K month. Like, I still celebrated myself. Absolutely. I was really good at celebrating myself actually when I hit my first 20K month, I think is when I went out and bought a brand new Apple Watch. And then there was a few other things that I would do when I hit a certain milestone so I could recognize myself and I could celebrate myself in that. And then it also kind of gave me a bit of motivation for the next milestone. Because I was like, I would say to myself, okay, whenever I hit that next milestone, I'm going to go out and celebrate and I'm going to buy myself this thing. So it actually gave me intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation to actually work towards that goal. But whilst I was working towards that goal, I was really persistent in regulating my nervous system and actually learning and teaching my body it's safe to receive that amount of money. Because otherwise I would have freaked the fuck out and gone like, oh my God, this is so crazy. This is amazing. I did it. I did the thing. I finally hit my 10K milestone. Oh my God. And then the unconscious mind will kick in saying, oh, but what if this doesn't happen again? How do we do this again? Like, I did it once. Can I do it again? Are you actually good enough? Like, was this legit? And and it starts to go into overdrive. For me, in my experience, when I hit 10K, 15K, 20K, I never experienced that because I was in that much level of self-certainty, because I had done the energetic recalibration work to know that, oh yeah, this is just normal for me. It wasn't until I started hitting 30K months that I started experiencing the, fuck, I've hit my 30K month. Like, I can remember at the beginning of this year when I hit my first 30K cash month, I think it was actually a 35 cash month. And I quite remember thinking, fuck, what if I lose it all? What if I never do this again? Am I actually good enough to have this amount of money in my bank account? And then I instantly put a number in my bank account of what I must maintain. So I moved into scarcity because I was in more certainty that I wasn't going to achieve that milestone again and had less uncertainty that I was actually worthy to receive that. So therefore, what did I do? I pushed it away. I self-sabotaged. And of course, the result of that was the money went down. So what I had to do was, so then I recognized, oh my God, I need to start doing my own practices again. I need to start regulating my nervous system. I need to start expanding my energetic capacity to actually hold that amount of money. So I went back to my own school, like my own business energetic school, started using all of my own practices again. Within 90 days of doing that, I then have consistently hit since then minimum 35K cash months. And I have been doing that for the past 4 to almost 5 months now since the beginning of the year when I hit my very first 30K month. And that is all on business energetics and learning how to calibrate your nervous system to hold that amount of money. So you're probably listening to this and thinking, fuck, I've been that before. I've been that person before. I've hit a milestone, or maybe you've received a pay in full for the first time and you're like, holy fuck, I finally did the thing. I finally received that amount of money. I finally fucking did it. But then realize that your brain went into, hang on, how are we going to do this again? Oh shit. Like, what if they actually cancel? And it goes into disbelief, into second guessing, into doubt. Because why do you think that is? Because for as long as you've known, and for as long as you've also not known, because these are unconscious patterns, right? And your unconscious patterns run 95% of your thoughts, behaviors, and programs. And until you bring conscious awareness to these programs, they will literally run the undercurrent of how you show up in the world. So I want to celebrate you for recognizing that there are patterns like these playing out. And that is the first step. You cannot change something without conscious awareness. So now that you have conscious awareness around this pattern playing out, this is the exciting part. You actually get to do something to change it. So if you've noticed that you've hit a milestone, you've gotten a pay in full, you've hit your highest cash month, and then notice that after you hit that highest cash month, you maybe did your lowest cash month. Why do you think that is? highly likely, well, I'm not even highly likely, that is because you have not trained your nervous system and expanded your nervous system to hold that amount of money. So what is it going to do? It's going to deplete it because it doesn't feel worthy. It doesn't feel safe to hold that amount of energy. It's like watching a little child have red cordial or like red lollies at like 7 p.m. at night, and then they're just like, they've had all of this like fucking energy like given to them, and then they're running around like a freaking Fruit Loop. They're trying to disperse all of that energy because their bodies don't know how to hold that amount of energy. So what is it trying to do? It's trying to disperse all of the energy. You're basically a human form of that. Instead of it being red cordial that you're given money. And then you're like, fuck, I don't know what to do with this. So either you go into hoarding. And now I also want to go into a bit of a side tangent here. What happens when we receive a certain amount of money that we're not used to receiving? We either go into two systems if we aren't regulated in holding that amount of money, which is probably 90% of you listening to this, because you wouldn't be listening to this if you knew how to regulate yourself to receive more cash flow. So one of two things happen. When you receive an amount of money that you're not calibrated to receive and hold, you'll go into two responses. Either you'll go into scarcity, where you'll white knuckle your money and you'll hold on to it, even though you're probably in the most abundance that you've ever had before. You go into scarcity thinking, oh my God, what if I never get this again? What if I lose it? And you hold on to it and you start to hoard and you protect it. And then then the other pendulum swing is you going into spend mode. Like, woohoo, hell yeah, I'm in abundance era. I'm going to go out and buy my Gucci handbag. I'm going to go celebrate myself. I'm going to go on a shopping spree. Fuck yeah, bitches. Look at me, living the high life. And then all of a sudden you're splurging. From an energetic capacity, you are operating at the same program here. Basically meaning that you don't actually know how to hold that amount of energy. Because what happens when you hoard it? Something comes up and you have to spend it. And when you spend it, we're like, oh, well, spend it. Oh, well, the same underground patterns are playing out that your body is not regulated within itself to hold that amount of money. So again, you're probably thinking, Candy, how can I do this? And it's so interesting because I was having a conversation with one of my clients the other day around actually calibrating your nervous system to a higher standard. And it's interesting, like this client of mine, she came to me a few months ago. She came to my 3-day program. I actually invited her for free to come to my 3-day program because I just literally could not fucking get her out of my brain. It was the night before. And the 3-day event started the next day, and I was just like, I need to message this person. And so it was literally 11 p.m. The event started the next day. She was in my brain. I could not sleep for the life of me. And I just was like, fuck it, I'm just going to message her. If she sees the message, amazing. Obviously, it was divinely orchestrated. If she doesn't see the message, whatever, no problemo. And so I rolled over to message her. Of course, it's 11 p.m. at night. And I was like, I just laughed to myself. I was like, haha, universe, you sneaky little bugger. And so I messaged her and I just sent her a voice message. I was like, hey, girl, I just have to message you because I just feel like I need to invite you into this room. I don't really know why. I can't go to sleep because the spirit guides are just telling me to message you. So the invite is there. Come. Here are the dates. I'll see you tomorrow. And then I didn't see, because the next day I just got up and I went about my day, went about my morning getting ready for the event, rocked up to my event. And I saw that she had replied, but I didn't have time to actually look at the message. And then about 30 to 45 minutes after the event started, she walked through the door and I was just like, fuck yeah. I was like, all right, let's go. And she had reached out to me previously to want to work with me one-on-one. She had a few other things happening in her life. She's like, I want to do it after this date. And I was like, cool, amazing, babe. Like, if it works out, it works out. But I was like, okay, well, I just want you to come to this event. And of course, she came to the event and then she's like, I don't know why I was putting off working with you. I can't fully work at one-on-one capacity yet, but I would love to start in your group container, the collective. So at least I'm actually starting to move the needle in business, etc. because she's like, I just know that you're my next mentor. I was like, cool, amazing. Like, let's get you started. So she started inside the collective, my group coaching container. And at the time when she started, she's like, this is a bit of a stretch for me. And so she went back to door-to-door sales to make up the extra cash flow to be able to pay for the mentorship and the other things that she was doing in her life. She was traveling overseas. I was like, cool, amazing. Like, if you know that you need to work with someone, and if you know that that's the next thing for you, and you fully trust yourself, you will make it happen regardless. And this is what this client did. She just like went all in, trusted herself, and it was like, I know this is the next step for me. And of course, it all worked out in her favor. Now, she has gone overseas. She's traveled overseas. She's gotten all of the upgrades, all of the codes. And in the last 2 weeks, she's done like 20K in cash pay in full. And her guys were like, you need us. And she said to me, she did her first 13K sale a week, 13K cash week. And then she was like, I need to learn how to regulate my nervous system to hold 10K cash weeks. And so I was like, cool, amazing. And she's been doing the work and actually like learning how to regulate her nervous system. And I got off the phone to her the other day because we were just having a catch up, and she's like, yeah, 2 days before that, she's like, I just signed a 10K painful client. And then I got off the phone to her and she's like, oh yeah, I've just signed another 10K painful client. That's on business energetics and nervous system recalibration. If you do not do this work, you will consistently loop in the same patterns. So how do you do it? You're probably thinking, Candy, stop telling me why I need to do this. I know I need to do this, so tell me. So there's 2 things here. Identity. Identity can't stabilize the new level. Your identity you need to be fully rooted in your level of self-certainty. That identity opens up a whole new world for you. And then it's your job to regulate yourself in that new identity, to calibrate your world. The world will literally start to move for you when you shift your identity. Then it's up to you, and it's your job to regulate your nervous system in this new identity so you can hold it when you receive it, because you will. If you energetically identify as a person that you are becoming, the universe responds. And then it's your duty. The universe is always watching, the universe is always listening, and it will give you what you ask for. But if you are not calibrated and regulated in your nervous system to hold the results, and I'm not just talking the good things as well, because when you ask to go to a new level, you will also be met with new challenges. And this is why the importance of regulation and nervous system regulation is so important, because it's not about actually holding more money as well. It's also about holding more tension, holding more challenge, holding more resistance. And usually, if you ask for more, the universe will test you and be like, okay, you asked for more. I'm just going to test you here. How well can you actually hold this? Depending on how you respond to your universal assignment or your universal test, depending on how you respond to that and how you hold that from an energetic capacity standpoint, the universe will then go, okay, here you go. And then we'll show you. So don't expect to be like doing this identity work and the energetic recalibration and things will just fall into your lap. They will, but there are also, the pendulum has to swing the other way. And it's how you respond in those moments that will quite literally determine how much you get from the universe. So I always say like everything is perfect, whole, and complete. And when I ask for my next level, so obviously I'm shifting into 7 figures, and with that is going to come bigger problems, more money, more problems, like bigger, what is it? Bigger responsibility, bigger problems. Like running a 7-figure company, that's a big responsibility. So I'm going to have bigger problems. So I have to teach my body how to hold and regulate myself with more energy. And I'm sorry, like something that I'm super grateful in my past career as an emergency nurse is I actually had to learn how to hold a lot of energy in my body. The stress levels were really high, the tension was really high, so I actually had to learn how to hold that amount of energy in my body while still thinking straight, because someone's life was on the fucking line whilst chaos was going in the background. So I've been naturally primed to be able to hold a lot of moving pieces in my business, hold a lot of stress, and just move through with grace. something that's really important for you to actually take from this is when you ask for your next level from the universe and you're scaling to whether it's you're hitting 10K months or we're hitting 30K months, you're asked the universe for more money, you have to learn how to move through the challenge that will come, because it's teaching you how to expand your bandwidth and move through it with grace, right? You think about receiving more energy, receiving more money, aka receiving more energy. Your vessel has to expand its bandwidth and get used to being more expanded. So, how we do this, and it's honestly so simple. The simplest thing that you can do to regulate your nervous system is breathe. So, what I teach my clients to do is when you're in stress, when you're in abundance, when you're experiencing a wider capacity, it's so important to breathe and practice and teach your body that it is safe. So what I get my clients to do is I get them to breathe in for 4, hold for 8, breathe out for 4, hold for 8, whilst they're in a heightened state. Because what you're doing in this moment, whilst you're in a heightened state, is you're creating calm within the chaos and teaching your body that it is safe. Because when your body feels safe, it begins to open. Think about it like when you're having sex with someone that you feel safe with, your body opens up so much more. But if you're having sex with someone that you don't really want to have sex with, your body's like closed off. Money's the same thing. Energy is the same thing. When you teach your body, okay, this is actually safe to receive this, then it's going to become more open to receive it. So you can do this practice in both the chaos and the calm. It's important to do both, because what that does is that over time, it teaches your nervous system and your body to regulate at a higher capacity and a higher threshold. So regardless of what energy you're in and what challenge you're navigating through, whether you're in, okay, I'm doing a lot, business is pretty hectic right now, there's a lot of moving pieces, there's a lot of money coming in, actually regulating your nervous system in that. So in the chaos, remembering to drop into your body and be like, breathe in for 4, hold for 8, breathe out for 4, hold for 8, and actually just saying to your body, like, I'm so safe to receive this. It's so safe to receive this. I am perfect, whole, and complete. And of course, it's so normal for me. Something that's really important is using this languaging. Like, of course, this is so normal for me. It's so easy. It's so effortless. This is so normal for me to receive this amount of cash flow. And just doing, like, you don't even have to do that many breaths, at least a minimum 3 to 5, whilst rewiring your programming system. That's a whole nother topic of conversation about subconscious programming and rewiring your programming system. That's a completely different topic to regulating your nervous system, FYI. Very different things, very important things, very much things that I teach my clients in my business containers, in my coaching programs, so they can time collapse and scale to their next levels quite quickly and rapidly. If you want to learn how to do that, obviously I'm always open to receiving more people into my world. If you're someone scaling to your first 10K months, then my invitation is open to you to move into the collective, where we integrate business energetics and personal branding and social media content creation and business strategy into one, so you can have the energetic accountability and the business strategy accountability to scale to your first 6 figures. The collective is a space for you. If you're someone who is hitting that 10K and you're like, I want to get to the 30K, I want to regulate the 50K, the things that we need to do in your identity and in your premium marketing positioning is a little bit different. Then you would be more suited to the CEO table. I only take a certain amount of clients per intake for the CEO table, and the next intake will be starting in April as well. So that's a 6-month mastermind, very high level. You must be making 10K months to be entered into that space. So you'll know where you are. But there are different things that we work on, because when you're calibrating your nervous system to hit 6 figures, your first 10K month, it's actually about doing a certain approach. Once you master that, then we move into a different approach to get you to regulate yourself at consistent multi-5 figures. And also we do a lot of deeper energetic work and also premium brand positioning. Currently building out a world-first genetic profiling brand positioning inside my mastermind as well, which is really, really cool. So you'll know where you are. And my invitation for you is, if you feel called to move into my space, then always open to booking a call with my team and just seeing if you're the right fit. Truly, it is simple as that. But I know that you will know within your heart whether, that is the next step for you. And I ask you just to lean into that through your heart and through your body, not your mind. But essentially, to wrap up this podcast episode, it's just, I really want to just bring attention to it, because it's popped into my mind like 3 times as I've been recording this, but I just feel like I need to loop back around, because I'm like, it's popped into my mind a few times, and then I've thought, fuck, and then I'll go into a different tangent. But something that I do with my clients is, whenever they hit a milestone, I celebrate them. Also, at the same time, regulate them. I'm like, cool, of course you did that. Like, obviously. I have that much certainty in my clients getting results. This is how I treat them. Like, duh, babe. Yeah, I know you did that. Fuck yeah, I'm so excited for you. I'm celebrating you, babe. But duh, obviously, like, this is just normal for you, babe. And it's just about calibrating them as well to the results that they're getting, because they have been consistent in regulating their nervous system. That is the power of business energetics, and no strategy is ever going to trump that. Business energetics is going to be the number one thing that you need to master in order to scale and consistently grow your business, to invest more money, to receive more money, and to hold more money. All right, beautiful soul. Thank you for listening in to the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. If this episode landed with you, please share, please subscribe, please follow on whatever platform that you're listening to. It really helps us continue to show up. So no matter where I am in the world, that I'm still being able to be consistent, because sometimes I don't really know if you guys like this stuff or not. So, because I can't really see. So please subscribe, please follow, please share it and tag us at the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. So I can see it. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. And as always, you know the vibe, all spice, no sugar. Bye.